We are now connected with psychologist Reti Oktania. Hello Reti, how are you?
Hi.
Good
Hi
afternoon.
Maria Dirza-Rori.
Hi. Mbak Reti. Now I would like to jump into our first question. Can you explain what self-reward is and why is it important?
Okay, now we're going to a very basic. What does reward mean? A reward is a favorable stimulus given to change, to shape, to retain a behavior. So if you want to have a certain behavior, for example, keep yourself on motivating in making a presentation, for example, presentations deck, then you need to keep yourself motivated in doing that. You need a reward. So reward typically serves as a reinforcer. And you usually give it after you complete something. And when you give a reward to yourself, it is called self-reward. And self-reward actually help your brain produce what is called dopamine. It is hormone that makes us feel good and joyful and help us focus and help us to retain certain actions. And when we retain certain actions, it boosts our self-efficacy. You know, self-efficacy means that the sense that we can accomplish something, we can do something. So that's what self-reward is.
Mbak Reti, you mentioned dopamine, and dopamine is a drug. It's associated. It's a hormone associated with someone who takes drugs recreationally. So,
Yes.
so is
Yes.
it bad for someone to give themselves self-reward time and time again?
Yeah, I will go to that part. So when we depend on self-reward, we depend on external motivation, extrinsic motivations to activate our dopamine system. That means that we can only work and function using that self-reward, that kind of self-reward, that level of self-reward. And that we don't want that. We want our dopamine system being flexible. We want to have so many resources to activate our dopamine system. And luckily, there are so many ways to activate our dopamine systems. Eating healthy foods, exercising, get enough rest. Those are the free things that we can do to activate our dopamine systems. And we can train our body to not only depend on the self-reward to activate it.
Okay, so I think me personally, I have a serious problem with dopamine because I get addicted to dopamine all the time. That means I get addicted to giving myself a self-reward all the time. But sometimes self-reward is, in my case, used to as an excuse for overspending. How would you say this?
So, yeah, it can lead to overconsumerism, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, because we tend to depend our motivations on external or extrinsic motivations like the reward. But we can also activate our intrinsic motivation as well. So intrinsic motivations consist of three things. The first one is self-efficacy. When we do something, when you have back-to-back meetings, when you have so many deadlines in a week, then you ask yourself, am I able to do it? Am I able to accomplish it? Do I have the skill to get it done? You will become more motivated if you have the feeling that I can accomplish it with the skill that I have. If you don't have that kind of motivations because you have lack of skills, for example, then you can ask yourself, what can I do to upgrade my skills? Or where can I go to ask for some help? And secondly, why should I do this? If I have so many meetings, if I have so many deadlines that I have to accomplish. Why do I have to accomplish this? What is the value for myself doing all of these? So it goes to a very basic, what is the value of me doing this? And the third one is it fun doing this? If it's not fun, then what can I do to add more fun while I'm doing this? So sometimes it is an excuse for us to do self-reward, but actually we can also do something else to activate our motivations in accomplishing something. So we can start to train ourselves not to make an excuse on giving ourselves too much self-reward to buy something or to overconsume on something.
Okay, Mbak Reti, most of us are addicted to self-reward. How do we reward ourselves in an appropriate manner?
Okay, in a healthy way.
Yes.
There are two components. Before you give yourself a reward, there should be an achievement and there should be self-control. So both of them, you should make an agreement with yourself prior to the things that you want to do. For example, okay, this week I have this to-do list. This is the achievement, this is the stuff that I want to get done by the end of this week. That's the first component, the achievement part. And the self-control part means, if I accomplish all of this list, what will I get for myself? So I have an agreement with myself, this is the thing that I want to get according to the list that I will do. Achievement and self-control will help us to get the self-reward that is appropriate for ourselves to do certain lists. But there are also things called delayed gratifications. For example, delayed gratifications means if I have these lists within this week that I have to accomplish, and I can get, for example, by the end of this week, I will buy myself new clothes, for example. Then I will challenge myself. If I can hold and accomplish one more week of to-do list, I will go to a vacation instead. Not going to buy new clothes anymore, but giving yourself a bigger gifts by accomplishing bigger achievements. For example, things like that. So that yourself are trained, become more motivated, more resilient, and also it's not, we don't depend on the self-reward that often in terms of buying stuff.
Mbak Reti, but those techniques only work with people who have self-control. But time and time again, I've seen people who get into like credit card debt under the pretense of healing or even self-reward. So how do you treat people that have pretenses like that?
Okay, when you have problem with your self-control, you tend to have no limit and you don't know what is the ceiling to say stop. It's hard for you. And in a way that it puts yourself in a difficult situations, putting your family and your surroundings in difficult situations also, and you feel stressed because of that. Because you spend a lot that you don't get the allocations for another things to pay, for example, because you spend a lot on self-reward. In that case, if it causes you stress, if it affecting the relationship with others, and it somehow puts you in danger as well, then you have to ask for help. Because it's not only the problem of self-reward, but you are challenging in you have challenge in doing self-control,
Okay. So,
and you need help on that.
so obviously, self-reward is good for our dopamine hormone and it's good for our mood. But what are the main benefits of giving ourselves a self-reward?
So yeah, despite of so many negative effects maybe, but there are also positive implications of giving yourself self-reward, of course. For example, in instant, you can give you positive emotions. The self-reward can give you positive emotions, and it will also lead you to another positive outcomes of your work. And therefore, it can also create self-reliance because you can accomplish things and you give reward to yourself and you can accomplish another thing. It also boosts your self-esteem. It can also develop positive thinking because you are used to think that you can do it. You have that can-do attitude. And of course, by having self-reward in timely manner after you accomplish something, it helps you to develop goal setting and time management, and you will have that kind of management. You can manage your job better. As long as it's not used overly or excessively, self-reward is good. But as I said earlier, don't depend on self-reward itself to keep yourself motivated. Work also on your intrinsic motivations and also another channel of increasing your dopamine system.
Okay, Reti. Now we're curious. How do a psychologist like yourself do a self-reward? Because we can tell that you really understand the concept of self-reward appropriately.
Okay, I usually self-reward in small amount. For example, if I can finish my presentation decks or my reports by the end of the day, I have 10 reports that I have to accomplish by the end of the day, I would give myself a nice cup of coffee. Or for example, if I have a deadline on Thursday, but if I manage to accomplish it on Wednesday, then I'll go to cinema on Thursday. For example, things like that. I usually do things like that. So it's not big things, but stuff that I really want. Just like what you said earlier, I want to pamper myself, things like that. But also, the most important thing, I guess, self-reward is not only giving yourself whether tangible or non-tangible things, but the way you talk to yourself. Like a pat on your back, your own back, for example. Oh, wow, you accomplished this one day early than what it is, what the deadline is. I'm so proud of you. Let's see, what did you do to accomplish that? It's not easy, but you manage it. Talk positively to yourself. Recognizing your journey and small steps that you've done that helps you accomplish your goal, I guess that's more important. Because you recognize your effort. I guess that's more important than the extrinsic motivations itself.
But Reti, of course, self-reward is a way to incentivize ourselves. But some people, from my observation, some people just do better with an element of fear. So like a carrot and stick approach. So do you think which one is better? Do you think to give yourself a reward, to get a job done, or to put yourself in a stressful position to get the job done?
Well, actually, in psychology point of view, when there's a reward, there's a punishment. A punishment is like the opposite of reward. A certain unfavorable stimulated that is given for you to stop certain behavior. For example, if you are procrastinating and you're under pressure and your boss is yelling at you, and that's the punishment. But actually reward and punishment is working for animals to train them. So I guess in long term, whether if we depend only on reward and punishment, it won't be effective. Because then, for example, an employee can just say that, oh, I don't want to work here anymore. No matter what fear are you put on me or whatever reward you give on me, no matter how big the bonus is, I don't want to work here anymore. It can happen.
Right.
So, yeah, so the best thing is working on our intrinsic motivation on why we're doing it. And can I do it? Do I have the skill to do it? And while I'm doing it, do I have fun? Am I fulfilled doing it? I think those are the key components instead of working on self-reward or using punishment to make you more motivated. I think those three intrinsic motivation is more important.
Reti Oktania, a psychologist, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts about self-reward. Please stay safe and healthy. Thank you.
Yeah,
So
you
we've
too.
got
Thank you.
another perspective about self-reward, that it is just to be done and it is right to be done, but we have to do it without an excessive.
Yep.
Yes.
Right?
Control.
Let's now move to the next story where Maria will tell the next story though.
Yes, see, the stories will continue after the break with tips from us, so don't go anywhere.